So you're losing more hair than usual. Let's talk about Telogen Effluvium. With that and more, here at the Hairwire. And welcome, guys. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Hairwire, the place where you, my friends, get hair smart. I'm your host, Sergio Carlos, and this is the Hairwire, alongside with Carrie, Jeremy, Sam, Dipsy. How you guys are doing today?
Great, great. I missed you guys. I feel like I have not been with you for a long, long time, but I'm so glad I'm back.
It has
Yes,
been a while since we've been together.
I know,
yes.
I know.
Actually, we have not been together, the three of us, for what,
Yes,
3 weeks, basically?
Probably.
minimum. Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
This is good. This is good.
Yes,
We're here
yeah.
today. We're here today. Today we're going to be talking about Telogen Effluvium. What is Telogen Effluvium, and what can we actually do to support our hair and get it back in shape the way it's supposed to? I mean, uh, a lot of people are losing their hairs, and with it, they're losing their minds. you know, because
Sure.
yeah, it becomes such a bothering issue. It becomes something that it really gets to you in a way that doesn't allow you to sleep. It really affects your mood. It really affects how you see the world and how do you think people sees you, because perception gets all disrupted, gets all screwed up, and it messes with your head. And every time you wash your hair, every time you brush your hair, you see clumps of hair in your hands, and it's driving you mad. And then some. What do you guys think about Telogen Effluvium before we talk about what is Telogen Effluvium? And by the way, we want to say hi to our viewers and to our group, the Telogen Effluvium support group. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. If you guys have questions, please let us know. We're here to answer. We're here to educate, because this is what the hair wire is all about. It's all about education.
That is correct. Let me talk a little bit about TE and the psychological effects that it happens. TE usually, I believe that TE is, as weird as that's going to sound, but it is a blessing from God. In a way, when you start losing your hair, this is when you notice that you are under a lot of tremendous stress, that something wrong is going in your body. Maybe it is because when Telogen effluvium, basically, as we all know it, it's a sudden hair loss that came after an event, and that event could be a psychological event or like trauma or mental breakdown, or you lost somebody dear to you, or it could be physical, where we have high fevers or a surgery or any acute illness, basically. And with both psychological or physical events, traumas, basically we are so consumed with whatever we're going through, right? And we forget to take care of ourselves. We will be drifted towards this event, and we forget to wake up and drink water. We forget that we need proper nutrition. We forget because we are very involved in what's going on. And that is normal human being behavior in a way. And that's why I say it's a God signal that no, 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 it's a physical signal. You have to stop and slow down and take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself first and foremost, you cannot take care of whatever event it's going through, right? You're going through, right? And whatever, like any physical trauma, any mental trauma we go through, or physical trauma we go through, it also affects all our families, our children, our partners, our parents. So it's not only ourselves going through this traumatic event, it's the people around us who loves us and care about us. So for them, we need to stop and like go back a little bit and start thinking about, okay, what I can do to enhance this situation. And that's why I say TE is a blessing from God. It's a physical sign in front of you to tell you, stop, go back and think.
Carrie.
Makes it
Yeah, 100%. I'm nodding because it is fact. It is. Your hair is an essential biomarker and it tells you a lot about what's going on with you. And it's, you can't see what's happening inside. And sometimes the noise is so loud for you to understand what's going on as well from outside. So for your body to finally be like, Kate, you're not going to listen to me. I'm going to make your hair fall out.
exactly.
No,
Exactly.
definitely. Now, what is telogen effluvium? Let's define this so that our viewers can understand, what it is really, and how do we actually uh, find out if we are experiencing telogen effluvium or not. So, usually, whenever we talk about telogen effluvium, is a very broad term. That's one of the very best things that we can start describing it, because Telogen Fluvium is basically one of the major, if not the major type of hair loss. And why do I say this? Because particularly with telogen effluvium, we need to understand that it is something that every human being goes through. Everyone at some point in their lives. And actually, we get to experience telogen effluvium at least 4 to 8 times in our life. So it is something that we will experience, we will go through. But the thing is that when we go through telogen effluvium, we might not experience it as bad. And that's the thing, because we may experience small shedding at some point. Oh, I'm losing a little bit of hair today. That's telogen effluvium. Because if you're noticing that you're experiencing more shedding than usual, that's a telogen effluvium event. Even if it is a small event, even if it just happens for a couple of days. But we start to describe intelligent effluvium whenever we experience it in a way that shocks us, in a way when we see thousands of hairs, when we see hair shedding like crazy, or when we start noticing that we have hair loss. Either one of those events is part of the many symptoms related to telogen effluvium. But what is telogen effluvium? Well, basically, the term telogen effluvium comes from a part of the hair cycle when the hair finally exits the follicle. So, whenever we're describing the telogen effluvium, what it means is that the hair is exiting the follicle sooner than what it's supposed to, in very simple terms. So, why is this happening? Well, basically, what's happening is that the cycle of the hair growth, of the natural hair growth cycle, is being interrupted. Now, there's many factors that can contribute to shortening to the hair cycle, which allows our follicles to release a hair before it's time. Now, naturally, a hair will live in a follicle for around 5 years. We'll say 2 to 7 years is the average, but five-ish is kind of like the middle number right there, right? So anything that interrupts that cycle, then of course causes that effluvium, whether it happens on the anagen phase as an anagen effluvium or a telogen effluvium in the telogen phase. All right. Now, what are some of the symptoms, or what are some of the triggers that we can experience, or that can help us, or at least give us away information of as and why we experience telogen effluvium? So it's an open question. Either Carrie, Bisan, which one of you want to grab it?
Yeah, I can, in a way that maybe I touched into this a little bit before, but let us talk about it a little bit deeper. So basically, as Sergio was saying, that any person will experience a telogen effluvium 4 to 8 times in their lifetime. And that is kind of an average for everybody, because we as a human beings, we go through also body health cycles. In a way, we grow up, right? We go through puberty, then we go through childbirth. Women go through childbirth, and no single person doesn't go through traumas in their lives, basically. And this is, in a way, like a kind of a natural path for us in this world. But in to make it more specific, telogen effluvium will happen like really shortly after something really big happens to you, like postpartum hair loss when childbirth. That is telogen effluvium. menopausal hair loss, that is telogen effluvium. Even perimenopausal hair loss, which is the transition between menopause and between until the transition to menopause, that also telogen effluvium. Also, we learned that the hard way, COVID hair loss, which is a hair loss happens after an acute infection like COVID, or like flu, but the flu that has been triggering your whole system, that is also called a telogen effluvium. Any traumatic event that happens to you, that is called telogen effluvium. And the good thing about all this, it's so dramatic and it's so traumatic to see your own hair coming out in bunches, but actually that is the best, or the best hair loss treatment, or the most successful treatment can be done to a hair loss type. People with telogen effluvium hair loss, if you got help very soon, or at least when it started to go, when it's acute telogen effluvium, not when it's chronic telogen effluvium. Acute means a small, like a shorter period of time that you got telogen effluvium. When you start noticing this and go to your trichologist and seek help, this is the sweet spot where you can actually reverse the hair loss and regrow all this hair back. If you wait longer and the telogen effluvium stayed for a longer period of time, means happening over like a year or two or more than that we are going through a chronic telogen effluvium. And that will be, the more you wait, the harder it's going to be to reverse, because at some point the hair, that, as Sergio was saying, that the telogen effluvium is when the hair is exiting, right? So when we address it right now and then, the next hair cycle, we can actually manage to keep it. But if that cycle happens over and over again for many, many times, it will become harder and harder to manage to keep this hair alive inside the follicle without exiting it. Make sense?
Yes, definitely. Now, Carrie, I want to ask you about, what are some of the things that people can actually see visually about to their hair? Because I might be, seeing shedding, but not every telogen effluvium comes in the form of heavy shedding. So, you being a hairstylist, the hairstylist, because Carrie is a top hairstylist. What are some of the things that you see that might, someone goes to your chair, right? And they're clueless about their hair loss or the hair shedding or possible telogen effluvium. What are some of the things that you might say to someone? That makes you worried and want to ask about their hair loss?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it depends on like if it's a new client or a client I've had for years. Usually the first person to notice hair loss after yourself is your hairdresser, or if you haven't, it is your hairdresser, because they have the closest relationship with you and your hair. So if I know typical, like if I have a client I've had for years and when I go shampoo at the base, oh, you okay?
If you didn't hear it, yeah.
Wow.
What was that?
Wow.
Thunder.
Whoa.
Wow.
So
that was like really heavy.
yeah. So usually with it, like if I see them at the sink and I notice they're shedding more than they typically do, then I'll be like, hey, what's going on? Like, are you under a lot of stress? Have you changed anything? And I'll bring it up and I'll just like, I notice you're shedding hair a little bit more. And I will keep in consideration if it's a season change, or if I know them well enough, like what's going on in their life. Like I know that they're going through exams, or if they're accounting season's coming up, I keep those in consideration too. And I might give them tips to help bring down their stress levels to help with the shedding. But also too, if I know my client well enough and I can be preventative and be like, hey, it's this time of year, you might want to be preventative for hair shedding. I know typically around this time of year, it's heavier hair shedding for you. Let's get some practicing better, healthy, mindful activities for yourself and mindful eating. But then there are times where I do see it in clumps, and I will see it at the sink, and even when I brush the hair out, and as I'm combing the hair, it'll be still shedding quite a bit. Usually, like if I do brush somebody's hair, there's not that much shedding after I have brushed it out from the sink. But if I'm still like pulling the hair to cut it and I'm noticing there's still hair, long strands coming on my hands, that usually is a sign of some form of telogen effluvium. And, then you just kind of investigate from there.
Another thing that you usually see is the thinning. Again, you may not experience all of the symptoms of telogen effluvium because that's one of the things. There are many symptoms related to telogen effluvium, and you do not need to experience all of them to be certain that you're experiencing telogen effluvium. But many people, what they will see is the hair thinning, and they will notice that the hair at the bottom, the closest to the scalp, is becoming thinner, and the rest of the hair is actually a bit thicker. So that's one of the many same symptoms that we may experience. You see the thinning, we see the sparse of the hair. It's yeah, it's diffused. That's the word that I'm looking at. My Spanish is kicking in right now, so sorry about that. But
because of the
thing, yeah, I got a hard rewire set, because of.
Right. It's raining. Means I am in Puerto Rico and I'm going to speak Spanish now.
Yeah. The thing is, it becomes diffuse, and you start noticing, that certain areas, like for instance, the temples or the frontal section of my scalp is becoming thinner. Now, with telogen effluvium, there's no particular pattern. That's the beauty of it, and I say the beauty of it because for some people it sits on the front, for some people it's on the top, for some people it's on the sides, for some people it's on the back. Sometimes it's all over. But what you will see is, and that is definitely, you will not see spots, bold spots. That's something that you do not see with telogen effluvium. You might see that an area might become more sparse, more diffuse, but not complete bold spots. That does not happen with telogen effluvium. The other thing that does not happen with telogen effluvium is the part in the middle will grow wider, which is more commonly with androgenetic alopecia. Now, you will start seeing that it becomes wider in a sense that you see more translucent, more light into the scalp, but the part stays kind of like the same. It's the same reference. I might need to take show some pictures over here, but yeah. Let me see if I can find some particular one. Sorry about this. I'm talking to you guys as this is some of my before and afters. There's a particular picture that I'm thinking of. Again, this is live TV. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I
Please
actually went through
forgive
like
me.
2 of them already.
Yeah,
It
but
was a postpartum
I'm
hair.
looking at the particular when you
I
split the
see.
hair in half.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's it right here. All right. So you see this part in the middle is very wide,
Yeah.
while on the other side is thin, right? So that's not what you see usually with telogen effluvium. So again,
Yeah.
this is more of
That's it.
androgenetic alopecia. I'm looking where the all right. Yep. This is the one. This is the one I was talking about. So you see the line in the middle, on the picture on the left,
Yeah.
and you see
Still
the
the
line
same.
in the middle on the picture on the right is the same size. What you notice the difference is that the way the light hits on the picture on the left, you see more of the scalp than on the right,
It's more
and
see-through.
that's exactly more see-through. Because it's more see-through does not necessarily means that the part is wider. All right. And this is something that, if you take your pictures carefully, you can actually notice if the part is actually getting wider or not. And that's one of the main features with telogen effluvium. Again, it's not a unique feature of Telogen Effluvium because, as we were mentioning, there are many features, many symptoms related to Telogen Effluvium, and you do not need to see to have them all. It doesn't need to necessarily be exactly like that, but it's kinda like that. All right, and the whole idea with Telogen Effluvium is that if we are able to properly identify it, as Bisan was mentioning, it is the most treatable type of hair loss. The most treatable if we are able to detect it early. Now, if we wait 2 years, 3 years, or
Yeah.
if you have been on treatment for a year or two and the intelligent fluid does not stop, then you know either you need to change strategies, change maybe the person that you're getting the treatment from, but you need to get that under control as quickly as possible because as time goes by, unfortunately, that hair, that follicle might become damaged to the point that eventually might not be able to produce more hair. So that's why we need to address this as quickly as possible and to get a hold of it as soon as possible. All right. Anything you guys want to add?
No, that's
All right.
yeah.
Perfect. So, what can I do with Telogen Effluvium? Well, first of all, how do we address and how do we find out what it is that's happening? Well, as Biz was mentioning, some of the biggest symptoms or biggest culprits or triggers to Telogen Effluvium might be things that are related to our nervous system. So, whether it's pain, whether it's stress, whether I'm sleep deprived, whether I'm going to different circumstances that have an effect on my nervous system, they can also trigger Telogen Effluvium events. Same thing with hormonal imbalances. Usually, whenever we talk about hormonal imbalances, we talk about menopause, diabetes, thyroids, but these are not the only type of hormonal imbalances that our bodies experience. We may experience some slight hormonal imbalances in the form of, for instance, acne. It can be expressed in the form of acne. It can be expressed in the form of sweating. You can be sweating more than usual. It can be expressed in the form of hirsutism, facial hair, body hair. Those are signals of hormonal imbalances, even though they're not a big hormonal imbalance that could create, that can be detected in blood serum, still is a form of hormonal imbalance. Even sometimes people experiencing, for instance, when people can go to the bathroom,
Constipation.
constipation. Thank you. Again, my Spanish is kicking in today. Sorry. If you're experiencing constipation, even diarrhea, those can
Yes.
also be symptoms of hormonal imbalances. And finally, I'll say those are, I say the big threes are stress, hormones, and the final one, gut. Anything gut related. So whether you get bloated after you eat, if you experience gastrointestinal issues, whether you experience gastritis, whether you experience heartburn, irritation after you eat, or even during the day, if you get pain in your stomach, those type of situations, even if the color of your stool or the shape is irregular, those are also signs of something that is happening in your gut. Biz, can you expand a little bit of the hormonal
Yes.
and the gut issues, please,
Yes.
before we take it back to Carrie for the stress?
Yes, exactly. You know our areas, right? Yes. So basically, I want to add to the hormonal part that you said. Also, don't forget that guys also have hormonal imbalances, go through cycles of hormonal imbalances.
True.
People like the society don't acknowledge that, but it is a very scientific proven phenomena. Guys will go through actually hormonal cycle through the month, and also every decade they will have kind of a hormonal cycle where testosterone goes up, testosterone goes down, estrogen goes up, estrogen goes down, and that will contribute to a guy's telogen effluvium episodes. When it comes to the gut, gut is the basically is a trigger for many, 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 many diseases. Actually, in the functional medicine society, when a person has so many problems, they don't go and fix one problem at the time. They just go to the gut and fix it. Because when your gut is fixed, everything else will follow. And this is true for our Telogen Effluvium episodes. Whatever happening to you, whatever happening to a person, when you start fixing the gut, the hair and everything else will follow. Because when we have imbalances in our gut, we have imbalances in our mood, because all this fermentation, the nitrate gas that goes from the fermentation of extra or overgrowth of bacteria will go to our brain and cause brain fog. So people who doesn't have actually a gut problem, but I'll tell you, I have a brain fog, you just think about it. It's an overgrowth of bacteria in their gut,
Even
right?
lack of energy, for instance.
So that's too. Yeah, that's too. Lack of energy is becoming because your body is overwhelmed with parasites, with overgrowth of bacteria and so on. So, like in a way, your gut is related to every single thing that happens to us, including Telogen effluvium.
Carrie,
Yeah,
I know that you
yeah.
have to run, but can you quickly say something about stress and the importance of managing stress?
Yeah, well, absolutely. So there is good stress and there is bad stress. It's the chronic stress that we're addressing, because there are good stresses that stimulate good health practices, but it's the bad stress that you're in a chronic state that does cause many concerns in your health and hair loss. And particularly with Telogen effluvium is if you're mentally stressed about something, and people often say, well, I'm not stressed, but if you've been living it in a chronic state and that's all you know, that does affect you, and that's not healthy, and that will cause stress. And so it causes inflammation, causes swelling. Very common. I see a lot of people, especially doing weight trends or trying to lose weight, when they're just struggling with inflammation, not actual weight concerns. This will cause a lot of issues with stimulating hair loss. This will cause a lot of issues with your hair to want to shed more, because you're, first off, you're changing your diet, which could trigger Telogen effluvium. You are having inflammation episodes caused by either your diet or mental stress, which causes inflammation and hair loss. So it's quite important to notice what's causing that stress and be observant, be self-aware of what's going on. You know, in the last couple of weeks, usually 2 to 5 weeks is usually the biomarker that I use with people. Be like, hey, what changed? What is going on? Is it tax season? Is it Christmas? Did you lose a job? Did a daughter or son move in or move out? Like, what is going on to trigger this episode? And those episodes cause mental stress. And remember, mind, body, spirit's all connected. And another one, which we don't consider too, which I'm very passionate about, this being celiac myself, is if you also don't have gut health issues in check, it also affects your mental state as well, causing chronic stress. So what I mean by that is, say if you have gut health issues, the gut does not know how to distribute the nutrients properly to the brain, causing reaction in all of your serotonins, your dopamines, all of everything. And then a lot of people who have IBS, chronic celiac, or any of those gut health issues, they struggle with depression, they struggle with anxiety, and it's because of the mental state of the brain. And that causes mental stress, causing inflammation, causing hair loss. It's all connected, and we really need to examine to see where that stress is coming from. Is the stress coming from my gut health not giving me proper chemicals to my brain, causing these reactions, causes stress? Or is the stress because of an environment that's going on and triggering that stress? And also too, if I'm mentally stressed, oftentimes we get a headache or we get a tummy ache. You know, it's all connected. So
It is all connected. You're right, 100%.
Thank you, Carrie. I know you have to run, so
I do. Yes, I'll leave you guys.
thank you.
You guys need to continue this conversation. That's a
Have a
great
great day,
conversation. I have to go do mom stuff right now, so
Have
I
fun.
got to
Have
take
fun.
care of. Thank you very much, you guys. I will be in the background watching you guys, and maybe I will chime in on comment here or there. But you guys continue the conversation. This is a great
Thank you.
combo. Okay, see you.
See you again.
Bye.
To our viewers, if you have questions, please, this is a live show, so please bring your questions because we want to answer. We want to help you out, whatever it is that you're going through right now with your Telogen Effluvium, or if you have questions about treatment plans, please let us know, and we're here to help you out in this process. Now, going back, Biz, to gut and hormone imbalances, because again, the same thing happens with stress. Sometimes we don't follow, or we do not understand that we are experiencing this type of symptoms until it becomes something worse. And usually hair loss is one of the main features. And this is why you always say that hair loss is a blessing in disguise. And the reason for it, because it allows us to investigate, and this investigation sometimes allows us to understand that something is happening to our body and we need to pay attention to it. And the moment we pay attention to it, we start working on it and we get better. And that's the whole thing, to be healthy at the end of the day. Now, going back to gut and hormonal imbalances, Biz, why are they so important for Telogen Effluvium?
Often because one thing, sometimes we actually go through our traumas or our stressful events or our symptoms like brain fog or tiredness or all of this, which comes from gut or hormonal balances, and we think it is normal because we have been feeling that way for the longest time. So I meet a lot of clients. I will say, I'll have this question. Are you bloated? Do you feel bloated? She will tell me, I'm bloated all the time. That's okay. we get used to these feelings, and this feeling become our normal. And this is where it is really, really dangerous, because when we sink into brain fog and being tired and sluggish and all of that, we forget that this is a snowball, and it's going to become worse and worse by time, by age, by more responsibilities, all of this stuff. And we forget, but like it will become a big snowball, we can't even treat it. But if we always be in tune with our body, and we can not allow being bloated or having brain fog or chronic fatigue be normal, then we can catch it earlier and see what is the root cause of this. The root cause of your brain fog could be a hormonal imbalance, or could be an overgrowth of bacteria in your gut. So you need to go to your practitioner and sit down with them, do a timeline, and go back, see when is the last time you felt normal. When is the last time you didn't have this brain fog? Okay, that was like 2 years ago. Great. What happened in these 2 years? Did you change your diet? Stressful events, menopause, a baby, all the questions you need to know what happened, so you can track down what is the trigger for the Telogen Effluvium. Telogen effluvium, as we said, is the symptom of a bigger problem, a much bigger problem. So you want to go back and see where this whole thing started. And let us say a person will tell me it's menopause. Great. With menopause in particular, or any hormonal imbalances in a way, there is a lot of ways that we can help the person ease into menopause or ease these symptoms. But this is part of nature. This is part of life. So what I will be doing for my client is, first of all, be the emotional support of my client, because in a way, nature has to take its course, and Telogen effluvium has to go through, right? But if I am very emotionally supporting my client, making sure my client is eating well, is hydrated, and there is no other trigger that may add to the Telogen effluvium, means I'm making sure that I am on top of her blood work. There is no nutrient deficiencies. There is no other triggers that's gonna go in and sweep in to exaggerate this Telogen effluvium episode. I am actually doing my client a favor by making the Telogen effluvium just pass smoothly. We cannot stop a Telogen effluvium episode in a menopause place, or with a postpartum. We cannot actually stop it 100%. We can ease it. We can make it the transition easier, and make the teacher goes through its course for a very short period of time, maybe one cycle or two. depending on how healthy my client is. So this is all things that we have to think about as trichologists to help our client. When it comes to gut, when it comes to hair loss and general, Sergio, all my hair loss clients, all of them, first thing I said, let's fix the gut. You know why I say that, Sergio? Because we are in a bad timing where our food is poisoned, our water is poisoned. Don't let me start on that.
You started, so keep it
I know.
rolling.
Like, oh, I know. I don't want to, but toxins everywhere.
Yeah.
We all need help. Our bodies are overwhelmed. Our gut is overwhelmed with all the chemicals he has to process or it has to process. All the new chemicals every day, even when we eat organic and all the good stuff, very, very expensive stuff, there is also sweeping in chemicals in there that we are not used to. So our gut will go like it will be in a shock. What's this? How I'm going to deal with this? So whenever you have a hair loss problem, period, especially telogen effluvium, fix the gut and address the hormones and address the actual trigger. If it was, you know, an illness or a trauma or whatever it is, address the nutrient deficiency, give the person an emotional support. Believe me, believe me, it will be reversed.
Now, you mentioned something very important here, Biz, because most of the people who are experiencing Telogen Effluvium, one of the first things that they will do is run to a store and start buying biotin, or start buying Nutrafol, or start buying Viviscal, or many supplements. And some of those people that start using supplements, they will see they get a good results. But there's a bigger group that unfortunately do not see those results, and they jump from one product to the next and taking all the supplements and vitamins that they can, and they go nowhere. Why is that?
Well, I'm going to tell the next group that keeps taking all these supplements, congratulations, your pee is very, very expensive.
But is it? I mean, are those supplements actually good, or is it the timing when I take the supplements that is not the right time?
So
What?
the first group you mentioned that some people will actually have a good result is this placebo effect, because we are very emotional creatures. And when I go to a person like, when I am convinced, and marketing plays a huge role in that, when I'm convinced that this $100 serum is going to bring my hair back because the lady in the ad has a great hair and she was putting the hair. Yes, I am convinced that is a great placebo effect, and it's great. It's great. Why not? I know I'll take it every day. It's fine. The only thing
It,
that
it helps. It helps.
it
So
helps. Why not? It's like my head is so stubborn, doesn't get convinced easy. But in any way, that is the placebo effect. Now, the second group, unfortunately, when you go and just take vitamins or anything randomly, that's way too much of an expensive thing to do on your pocket and expensive thing to do on your liver, because your liver at the end of the day has to process all these fillers, binders, that are preservatives that are found in most of the over the counter supplements. I'm not saying that they're all bad, but you are not targeting the cause. When you go and buy biotin, let's talk about biotin for a second. Biotin is the biggest myth in the vitamin industry, because hair loss, you know that, Sergio, hair loss is a very emotional thing that any person can
yeah.
face.
I mean,
And the
when
market,
we're going through hair loss, we become
very
we become freaked out. We
right,
become insecure, neurotic, emotional, and those are the things, that carry us to, grab the first thing that we see, or the first thing that someone says to me that is going to
right,
help me, because
right.
I'm desperate. I'm
Exactly.
desperate, and I need to take this down, and I need to take control of it. Yeah.
And there was a guy, a very, very smart guy. I don't know who he is, but he was super smart. He saw that people are desperate for something, and he did his research and saw biotin, which is vitamin B7, that is available in every single thing we eat, and nobody on this planet Earth who eats is deficient in B7. And then he said extracting B7 from all the natural resources we have around us, because it's everywhere, is so cheap. So I'm going to run a marketing campaign for these desperate people, telling them that biotin will grow their hair. And he is super smart, because I am sure he's living on his private island right now. Vitamin B7, which is biotin, is there is nobody, even the people who are not even well nourished in the countries where food is not very a lot of availability, nobody is deficient in B7. And B7 is not the cause of your hair loss. The cause of your hair loss could be anything that has maybe nutrient deficiencies, maybe hormonal, maybe gut, all the other stuff. So going back to your question, when a person goes out there and spend hundreds of dollars on all these supplements, are you targeting your root cause? If you have deficiency in vitamin B6, let's say, yes, go and get a B6.
Yeah.
If you are deficient on omega-3, yes, go and get a good fish oil. But when you don't, you see hair loss and you just run to the drugstore and just you buy wherever they have. How you are assessing you are taking the right thing. All what you're doing is breaking the bank, taxing your liver, and having expensive pee.
That's
So
it, unfortunately.
just one more thing. I believe I do give my clients supplements, but it's
Mhm.
targeted. It is
Th-
called
th- th- th-
targeting.
that- that's the thing, because the treatment, when it's targeted, I mean, I can recommend, for instance, I mentioned the brand Nutrifol. It's a great supplement. I
It's a
believe it is,
great. I love
but
that actually.
only if you need it. Only if you need it. Because if you don't, unfortunately, you're gonna be wasting almost $100 per bottle, and I mean, it will do no good to you.
And
And
and one more
that's
thing,
the
Chester,
problem. Yes, sorry.
and that Nutrafol thing. Nutrafol is a very, very, actually, I used it for my postpartum hair loss. It's just a very good general multivitamin.
Yeah.
It's very good, very clean product. However, I was not using it alone. I needed a multivitamin, and I was targeting my blood work. What my blood work says that I needed at that time: selenium and omega-3 and a couple of other things. So I am taking it as general good multivitamin, because I'm coming out of like pregnancy and the childbirth. I will need a good multivitamin. I didn't take it more than 3 months. That's it. 3 months, good multivitamin, targeted supplements for the blood work, and I'll do the blood work. I did the blood work 3 months later, and that's it. All the problems has been solved, and I passed my telogen effluvium because of postpartum, and everything was good after that,
Yeah.
because I targeted what I needed. So we're not saying that all these supplements are bad. It's just
No, 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 no.
like,
Not at
is
all.
there necessary or not? And for how long? How long you're gonna use that,
Oh, amen to that. How
right?
long?
Are
Yep.
you gonna be on these supplements for the rest of your life? Think
No.
about your liver. After all, these are processed food, right? We always say don't eat processed food, but we eat like 80 pills a day. These pills are not processed.
True.
They are processed. How they are in that tiny little piece of powder? It is processed, and you are taxing your body when you're taking all these uh, supplements. And these supplements, the good ones are good, but still they are processed. The bad ones have binders and fillers. Just don't come nearby that.
Yep. I would say
Uh,
that as a good measure of, general health idea, if you, before you can consider start using any type of supplement, try to consider at least, to do a proper detox in your body,
mm,
liver colon detox, to at least have nutrients in your system, and unfortunately, you're going to have a lot of trouble with it. So, um, again, as a good measure of general health, not everyone might need a detox, but in the general sense, before you start any supplement
100%.
regime, you know, at least get your gut in a position where you're at least able to absorb nutrients. And the same
100%.
thing goes whenever we talk about cosmetical treatments, because whenever we talk about treatments to Telogen Effluvium, you have to consider that there are three sides. There's the medical side, the cosmetical side, and of course the nutritional side of it. Those three areas, they must be in sync to get the proper treatment. So, but whenever we talk about cosmetic products, whenever I talk about cosmetics, I'm talking about shampoos, conditioners, serums, oils, leave-in conditioners, even soothing serums. There's a lot of products out there in the market, and I'm not saying that they are bad, because I can never say that a single product is bad. Only I can say it is not the right one for you, and
Correct. Amen.
selecting the right one for you, takes training, takes a special eye. It means, someone needs to monitor your progress, to understand what's your hair is like, your scalp is like, to actually make a recommendation of the product that can actually help you in the process. But again, if I'm only addressing it from the outside and I have problems on the inside, I'm always going to be cutting it short. So I need something stronger. I need something bigger, right? Or at least, and here's the word today: targeted. Everything needs to be targeted in order to be efficient. You need to be targeted. Without it, if we are doing things, randomly,
Yeah.
then we are just what? We're just guessing. And that's the thing. We don't want to guess. We want to make sure that you're going to the right channels, that you're going to the proper nutrition, and you're getting to the right results. But if you want to do something on the outside that's going to help you, as I mentioned, think about a good detox. Consider washing your hair regularly, at least twice a week. And if your scalp has a tendency to build on oil or to build on dandruff, then at least every other day or daily basis, if necessary. Use your regular shampoo, your regular conditioner. And a lot of people said, "Oh, I don't like to use conditioner because my hair looks is too thin, or it looks too heavy." Then you need to find a conditioner that is for fine, thin hair, and one that will not allow your hair to feel as lumpy. All right,
Yeah. Right.
and it will build, into volume. It will look, more voluminous.
Volume. Yeah. Lush. Lush.
Yeah, lush is fuller. Yeah, that's the word. Again, sorry, my Spanish is kicking in my head, and I'm translating as I'm talking to you. So, but the thing is, you have to think about using your products regularly. Now, is it a bad idea to use a stimulating serum? Of course not. Is it gonna help? Is it gonna do the work for me? Not necessarily, because you have to consider what are serums for. Serums normally is a way to add nutrients to your scalp that otherwise are hard to give orally through the proper nutrition. Or if you have trouble absorbing nutrients orally, then applying it topically can be a way to, get those nutrients in that area. But what will they do? Naturally, what they will do is to help increase the anagen phase. And by targeting the anagen phase, which is the phase of the cycle, of the hair cycle that grows hair, you're stimulating your cell, you're giving signals to your cells to produce, right? So it's not a bad idea. But again, is it what you need? That's where the targeted becomes essential. So again, there's a lot of good things that we can do, but we need to understand the timing. So visiting to a trichologist, going to a proper dermatologist, someone who is trained in these areas, definitely can be a great improvement for you. So we want to wrap things up. Biz, anything you want to add before we go?
Yes, I want to say that you guys are listening over there. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please let us know. We are giving these talks for you. We want to help you and we want to support you, even with our information or emotionally, or any questions that you may have. Just tune in and let us know. And thank you, everybody, for watching us week after week. And you are making the Hair Wire a very fun place to be in.
That's right. Visit the Hairwire, thehairwire.com. Follow us on social media. We're Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Follow us everywhere. And visit us, thehairwire.com. Subscribe, hit the like on the channel, and we'll see you next week. God bless you all. Till then, bye-bye.